Look, I know what you're here for, you know what I'm here for. Why don't we just cut all of the niceties and get the hell on with it? While performing a basic mining operation, the cavern gave way and everything caved in. Fortunately, nobody was injured and a few buildings are still intact. Shortly before the cave-in, we detected a cavern rich in energy crystal seams. Find that cavern and collect 52 energy crystals. Right then, we're going to completely ignore the fact that I completely misread that word for a second and got highly befuddled. That doesn't matter. What matters is we've games to play, and levels to do, and all sorts of other stuff. And you're just a perfectly ordinary person, aren't you? So you'll forgive me if I beam you up to the Starship Enterprise, and then we carry on with our lives. So, this is a wee dinky little level. Or at least starting area, although saying that, it's not a huge level either. It's a bit lumpy and bumpy, but never mind. I'm not used to playing levels that remind me of plates of rice pudding, but that isn't the point. The point is that I've got actually no memory of how many people I brought down, which isn't wholly sensible. Alright, so we've got 5 folks, but it looks like we've got lots of air, actually. Yes, so we don't even need the support station for the sake of the air. So we might as well bring down a few additional peeps. Which was an absolutely pathetic attempt to pronounce that word, but never mind. We should also probably give them guns at some point. That would be quite sensible, I think. So, so that the inevitable monsters that leap out at us and attempt to eat our faces can be dealt with. The hell is that? A granite grinder? You don't say. Alrighty then, how under the sun are we going to get there? With difficulty and in quite a while, I would imagine. But, what's that? Oh, that's what that is. I was confused why it was bringing up the little mouse icon as if it was we were looking at dirt, given I could not see none up here. So, I was just getting myself a little bit confuzzled. Okie dokie then. We've got our support station up and running. What are things upgraded to? Everything to level 2, which is quite nice. We don't have a teleport pad, however, which of course we're going to need if we want to bring down any more little vehicles. So, what I think I might do is tell everybody to get a gun, so that we are thoroughly prepared for warfare. And then I might have a look over here. What have we got over here on the map? Not a lot. We can't see a lot because people's radars don't ever seem to go as far as I think they'll go. Don't know if they've changed that or whether that's just me being a crazy person. It wouldn't be the first time it was just me being a crazy person. Right, we'll plonk that there, if that isn't too offensive to your sensibilities, and then we shall see what we can find over here. So why is this called seamless, if we're searching for a cavern that's full of seams? That seems a little suspicious, if you ask me. I think it would also be wise to set up some electric fence, so I'm going to pop a bit there, and a bit there, and then probably a bit, I had to think about this for a second. Hang on a second, let me upgrade this so we can have a look at all of our various buildings. Might be wise to get an upgrade station, that would probably be useful. Maybe a mining laser as a defense turret, maybe a super teleport pad. I don't know, there's many things that we could get, and I don't know what to do with any of them. Because we don't have a hell of a lot of space to work with here, so I really ought to be careful. Yes, in fact what I might do is get rid of that piece actually and build another building here. Shan't look overly pretty, but hey-ho, neither do I, so it won't be the first thing that you're having to look at this evening that is far from beauteous. So, let us build our way through here. What's that little grey blob? Is that electric fence? Ah, I don't think that was there in the original, you know. You know I don't think that was there in the original. Could be completely crazy, but I'm almost 100% sure that that was not there in the original. Oh good, so me putting the electric fence here in order to keep this pathway safe was a complete waste of time, because we're going to break down that piece, which will break down this piece, which will break down that piece, and completely expose my base to mischievous demon monsters. Excellent. I look forward to dealing with that situation. Okay, so there's nothing else in this direction that we can get, so we need to keep working our way over here. I know what you're thinking, but Phil, why are you complaining about exposing your base to dangers when you could just not drill this piece and then that piece wouldn't fall down and that piece wouldn't fall down and you could just reinforce that and forget about it? Yes, I could do that. I could forget about it, Don, but I can't because I have an irresistible need to strip mine everything in these places, which which frankly is half the cause of the climate crisis we're currently dealing with, so that's a nice thing to think about, isn't it? But never mind any of that rubbish. Let's just be grateful there's no monsters here. Okay, let's reinforce a few bits of this hard rock. We should probably upgrade this a little further as well so that we can get some dynamite. So we can blow everything up into little bits. Blow everything up into tiniest little bricks. Okie dokie. Another decent pathway, but no monsters. I mean, I've no certainty whatsoever that there will be monsters in this level, but now that we've met a monster or two in a Baz Mod level, I have no interest in getting caught with my pantaloons down. So you will forgive me for being a little paranoid. Okay, maybe I could put it... no, because then I can't really use this space here for anything, which is a bit inefficient, but then putting it there just sort of looks a bit messy. If I could ever get it there in the first place, which would be a small miracle. There we go. I guess because then I could put like fence sort of along here, and then yeah, that would be vaguely sort of safe, wouldn't it? Alright, I can get rid of this piece of fence then, because we're not going to need it. And we'll pop our super teleport pad here so that we can have a piece of fence there, and there, I reckon, and then that should make us vaguely robust to any pieces of rock which wish to rummage. Thank you for crying out loud. Why under the sun didn't that work the first time? Hang on a second. How curious. So if you click on that one and press cancel, it doesn't work, and if you click on that one and press cancel, it does work. I don't think that's a feature. I think that might be a little bit of a bug, and I don't mean the type that's been causing me to cough and sniffle in all of the last videos. But, never mind. It also strikes me we don't have nearly enough crystals for any of these buildings, which is a bit stupid of me. But, never mind. Let's send some people out to do a bit of dynamite in, because that might reveal a couple of extra crystals if they're hidden away in slightly more challenging to reach locations. Because I can erect my electric fence, it just won't do any good at the moment. Thinking about it, now that this is all blocked off as well, actually, this is the only avenue we need to protect, so we don't need to worry about any of these others. So that makes my life a little easier. Yeah, I'm now beginning to realise what they mean by seamless. I get the distinct impression I'm going to get very few... Oh dear. Ouch. I get the distinct impression we're not going to get an awful lot more crystals. Oh, he is going back for the dynamite. That actually surprises me. I rather thought somebody else would go and do that. But, that's just the dedication of these people. What's that? You've tripped over a spider? What's that? You've been blown to bits by a bit of dynamite? Do you think you're entitled to workplace compensation? No, you're not. And also these pieces of rock shouldn't be blown up, but never mind. You're not entitled to workplace compensation. Get back out there and stop blowing up pieces of rock. I mean, in fairness, they do have the motivator that if they don't do that, they won't get home. So, you know. There's something to be said for a motivated workforce. Okie dokie. Let's have a look here. Another ore seam. Which isn't exactly awesome, because frankly I'm a little sick of these things. They never really serve much purpose. If I really did understand the point of an ore seam that gives you as much ore as a single piece of rubble does. I mean, for crying out loud, half the ore we'll get out of this wall will be from the rubble we clear under it, rather than the seam that's on top of it. Which to me seems a little bizarre. But never mind any of that rubbish. I do find myself wondering something, actually, about how this game is programmed, and that is... In this situation, where I've got two buildings that are both requiring energy crystals, particularly they're both requiring the same number of energy crystals, if somebody gets a crystal, how are they going to pick which one to put it in? Are they going to put it in this one because it's the original, like the older one? This demand is more long-standing than this one is? I don't know. We shall have to wait and see, which will answer the question of where they'll put it, but it won't answer the question of why they put it there. But we shall see. Yeah, I am slowly beginning to realise that it was a really stupid idea building all of these buildings, because we're not actually going to achieve anything with this. So, funka music. Very funka music. I approve. I don't approve of the musician's logo, which is a slug, which is as such stomach churning to me, and the fact that after this we're probably going to have to play a level with slugs in it. So I'm not really looking forward to any of that, but we will conquer those bridges when we reach them. Alright, I'm going to send one or two people off to do a little bit of a mining expedition, because at the moment there's not a lot of point in just standing around. I approve of the fact that you listened to my my advice about not standing around, but kind of ice skating your way along isn't exactly what I had in mind, my small friend. Okay, I would enlist myself at this point, but there's not a lot of point given that I am addicted to sandwiches, which isn't wholly inaccurate. Okay, let's grab a couple of other people. Yep, Jet can come along and help, and Bandit can come as well, and we'll see if we can make some progress through here and find another cavern, or just a few crystals would do, to be honest with you. The trouble with being so far away from base camp, with these little forays into the rock, is that if we do reveal a monster, or a monster arrives at the same time that we reveal a couple of crystals, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if their spawn rate is somehow influenced by the number of crystals around, that we're going to be in a bit of a pickle, because we're only going to have the one bloke and the one gun in order to protect all of our little crystals, which is going to leave us in something of a situation. But we'll deal with that as and when it arrives. I was saying that we could bust through here as well. Yes. Get to this situation thoroughly busty. Wouldn't that be excellent? Giddy, aren't everyone wants sandwiches? Apart from you, wants to clear rubble, which frankly is a silly idea. I tell them to turn off clearing rubble, but I also do. I kind of do want the rubble being cleared. I just sort of wish that I was going to say that I could change the priorities. Of course, I can change the priorities, and the priority for clearing rubble is lower than drilling, so I probably ought to stop complaining, but I won't, because, you know, it's fun. One enjoys whinging and moaning about these things. Nearly had the opportunity to see something then, but didn't quite see it. If I remember correctly, in the original game, if a Rock Raider tripped over a spider, and then another spider walked into him while he was going through his recovery animation, the second spider would also disappear. And I'm curious as to whether that is true here as well, or not. I don't know of any way where I can engineer that situation, because these guys move in a relatively haphazard fashion. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see if that ever eventually does happen, in order to give me the opportunity to have a look at that, because I am curious, but I am not knowledgeable enough in order to know how to make that happen. We can't... Hang on, I think we can bust through here, can't we? Yes, this is actually more valuable than I thought. Let me clear that and set this to blow out, because this will allow us into this cavern here, which is where the granite grinder is, and that would severely speed up our mining operations. So, it would be sensible to go that way, which explains why I haven't been that way before. Oh dear. I appreciate the dedication of trying to get this done before Axel arrives, but I really don't think it's going to happen. So, for the sake of my own literal self-preservation, I am going to try and slow this job down a little bit. Yeah, picking that up served a great purpose, didn't it? Okay, right, come back, you two. Oh gosh, I didn't realise that was there as well. Which actually branches off into another cavern I'm quite interested in going down. Alright, let's reinforce this for the time being, so that it doesn't fall down upon anybody's bonces. I don't exactly wish to induce brain damage by bashing them with boulders. I was going to start talking about how my alliteration didn't even work, because I didn't even realise that the word damaged began with a D and not a B. But never mind, that isn't the point. The point is that the physics don't really make sense, given that a piece of dynamite there blew up this, but a piece of dynamite there didn't blow up that. But hey ho. I mean, I know, it's a game mechanic. I understand. I'm just being crass and stupid and foolish for the sake of it, you know. You know, because after, I don't know, 25 million episodes of this, or whatever it is that we've done, I think it's 21st, 22nd episode, something like that, eventually I'm going to run out of things to say, so you know, there's going to be a, there's eventually going to be a day when I sit here for an hour and a half and I simply don't say anything, for it has all been said before. I get the funny feeling we're running out of rock here as well. Yes, we are. We're running out of rock everywhere. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's just plumb excellent, that is. So we're going to have to go through here, essentially, because there ain't nowhere else, unless there's some other caverns that we can reach through here, but I doubt that, because, yeah, well, there's no way we can come through here, so unless that loops back on the far side, which it might do, there's an undiscovered cavern there, but, yeah, other than that, I'm not tremendously hopeful, so I reckon we're going to have to bring the granite grinder back and go through this way, and take us off in that direction, and see what we find! You know, I did think to myself when we first found those 2 or 3 crystals that we originally got right back at the beginning that I was a little confused why it was giving me crystals, because it seemed like this was supposed to be a level where you're devoid of crystals. But it seems that I have learned my little lesson. Oh, giddy. You know those non-stick frying pans you can buy in fancy shops these days? Perhaps we should buy some, oh my idiot. Maybe we should buy some non-slip frying pans that we can bash the spiders with. That would be vaguely amusing. I would actually quite like. This is a completely stupid thing here, but, you know, I think it would be rather entertaining just to see some kind of, I don't know, like a Source filmmaker animation or something of just a load of rock raiders chasing spiders with frying pans in order to get their infernal revenge. I mean, they do get their revenge because they kill the spiders by stepping on them, but you know. At the same time, death and a minor inconvenience are cheap substitutes. Okay, so we can go this way, or we can go that way. I don't know which we should do. I'm going to go this way, because it doesn't involve quite as much walking. And goodness, we found another crystal! Only the one, but hey-ho, at least we get to find out which one he's going to put it in. That is, if he actually does put it in, he doesn't just go for a sandwich, if he could get out of his 3 with Bandit and Dogs. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so he went for the first one. So presumably that's reserved, in a manner of speaking, in terms of the priorities, the next 3 crystals that we find. And then, what that is, we'll find out in a second. And then afterwards, once that one has been built, this one will be built as well. So that's interesting. So if you want to kind of queue up what buildings you want produced and in what order you want them produced, you should realise that now there's a gap in my defences. Oh dear. Pop a piece there, I reckon, and pop a piece there and there and there. Yes. I'm not wholly convinced there are going to be any monsters in this level, because I feel like if a monster was going to appear, we'd have met him by now. But perhaps not. I've also realised there's not a lot of point in drilling this out, because we can just see there's 2 ore seams there. So I'll leave that for a dynamite person to do once this bit of rubble has been cleared. So we'll task that and leave that one side. So what is this? What is over here? I know about that. It's this I'm interested in. A chrome crusher. Interesting. Well, I guess that was the next logical step after you giving me a granite grinder. Unless you were going to give me a tunnel transport. So, let us track with magnet mode. If I can ever find him. Thank you. This is convenient, actually, because it seems like they're going to give us the larger vehicles. So, I don't actually need to beam them down. So, I am actually quite glad that they're building the upgrade station first, given that that is the thing that I'll need, and goodness knows we've got enough ore for using it. What are we going to find? We're going to find some water, which is going to completely screw up my plan, because how under the sun am I going to get hold of a vehicle that can cross it? The answer to that is I don't think I need to, because I can probably carve a pathway out along here in order to loop around and avoid it. Goodness, the granite grinder seems so slow when it isn't upgraded. I'm so spoiled by the premium special edition version. Dear oh dear oh dear. Has the rubble over here been cleared? Yes, it has. So let's set that to blow up. I'm also not noticing any landslides either in this level. I don't know whether that's just because I'm not leaving the rocks out long enough for that to actually happen. But seems a little What is that? What is that? I spy something. That is a thing. Would you stop doing that? Thank you. That is what I want. That is what I wish to go and find and get, and then cart back. Would you stop doing that? Let somebody else do that job. Let him do that job, for goodness sake. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to, yeah, we're going to have to bring it back around this side again, aren't we? Because, yeah, that's it's hard rock. Because I can't tell you to do that, can I? No. Can I, sort of sneaky you into doing that? He says, getting completely stuck on something. Oh. That's interesting. I didn't know I could do that. No, I can't sort of poke my nose in. No, never mind. Alright, where does this go? Nowhere tremendously exciting. However, I'm quite interested to get to that chrome crusher, because then we can have 2 people drilling, and that will industrialise our operation. Which, as far as I'm concerned, will be quite useful. I've also noticed that it's allowing me to bring down more people. Oh yes, of course, because this is functioning now, isn't it? So I might bring down a couple more peeps, just for the sake of moving ore about and stuff. Because again, we don't really need it, but it's nice to have the place tidy. I am not going to be able to get through here, am I? No, because there's just hard rock here. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, well, never mind. Should we go this way and see if we can get the chrome crusher, or should we go the other way and see if we can get the, see if we can get access to the seam, which is not tremendously far away. Yeah, I feel like this has got to lead me into this cavern. Otherwise, what other possible point of access could I have? So I feel like this is quite a sure bet that we will find the chrome crusher and hopefully a crystal or 2. Although saying that, the other option is I could bring the chrome crusher home and then beam it up, so that we had the crystals for it and we could do stuff with them. We didn't know what we would do with them other than build the upgrade station, which would make me drill faster, which is the whole reason I want the chrome crusher in the first place. Not to mention having the chrome crusher would also be useful because it's got its laser on it, of course, which means it can also be used for defense as well as for the plundering of pebbles. If I drilled through one more, we would have had an extra pathway, but never mind. You can't have everything. Set these 2 to drill out just for the sake of it, I suppose, which is also going to expose another flank here that I haven't dealt with. But again, I feel like no monsters are going to arrive, so I'm not overly fussed. I'm not tremendously terrified by the concept of a monster or 2. Given that we've got so many people as well, I think, given that they're all wandering around ferrying ore and so forth, there should be plenty of people around with plenty of guns, if indeed they become necessary. Yeah, the trouble with all this being hard rock, it'll take forever for them to actually blow anything out, so seems a bit of a waste of time, but we might as well set 1 or 2 bits to blow out, like this stuff in the middle and so forth, that we can sort of just blow out and leave there, I think. Okay, this will make us another little shortcut if we punch through here, so that'll be nice. But I think I'm actually going to get access to the chrome crusher first, because I want to see if there's anything else in here. Because obviously there's a lot of ore seams, but with any luck, my hopes will be raised to high heaven and then dashed upon the rocks, like some sort of ancient ship. Oh, we did find a crystal. We just only found 1. Oh, good. Well, if I turn that off, that'll give us another 1. Won't give us enough to power the upgrade station, unless we turn the air off, but that might be a stupid thing to do. I don't know, because if you've only got a maximum capacity for 10 miners, and then I should actually put somebody in this, that'd be a vaguely sensible thing to do, wouldn't it? Yes, if there's if you've got standard capacity for 10 miners without a support station, and then you turn your support station off, will the air then start going down afterwards? I don't know. Perhaps yes, perhaps no. Perhaps we should experiment and find out. No. So I've got 15 miners, even though I'm actually only allowed 10. Alright. I don't quite get how that works, but it doesn't matter, because it means we can do upgrades! We can upgrade everything under the sun! I was going to say, I don't even know if this planet has a sun. I mean, I presume that it does, but given that we never see the surface, apart from in the opening cutscene, that, I don't know. I mean, if it didn't have a sun, it would be a rogue planet, which I think probably could exist if they had, like, geothermal energy in order to make them not be completely frozen, but, not to imply that this is the toastiest planet in the world, but you know. Right, let's get the engine upgraded, and we'll get the engine upgraded on you as well. There we go. And then we'll also upgrade the laser for doing big booms. And then we will upgrade the scanner for doing big lookings. Excellent. I approve of a looker. Right then, let's let's come back over here. Now we can zoom about and get all sorts of bits of work done. That thing. If metal could be hench, it would look like that. There's a sentence you've never heard anybody say before, and that's what you come to this channel for, hearing people say completely new sentences. Well, perhaps in a sense I have been supplying that for all these years, in the sense that I have been creating new sentences by jumbling random words together, mainly incorrectly, that nobody's ever been as uneducated about the English language as I am in order to contrive. Right then, let's have a look on the scanner and see what we see. We don't see much in that direction, so I'm not terribly interested. Yes, it looks like we might be able to get through here. Yes. It'll take a while, but we will get through. The trouble with having two drilling machines like this is I'm going to have to individually set their jobs. Otherwise I'm going to set a job for you, and then I wouldn't be surprised if, so if I set the next one... Yeah, see, he's going to come over and help, which, frankly, I've only myself to blame, given I'm the one driving the infernal thing, but, that isn't the point. The point is that we finally found a few energy crystals. And we can stop cheating when it comes to our oxygen supply. Right, let's knock all of this down. There we go, and then we'll give them a little while, and they'll come and collect them up and bring them home. I don't know why you're bothering around with bits of rubble, my friend. Okay, yeah, I'll keep the Chronocriner in this direction. I want to keep the Chrome Crusher further south, having summarily decided that way is north, for no other reason than that's the direction I'm looking, because that isn't imperialistic in the slightest. Sorry. Yeah, I want to keep the Chrome Crusher sort of more in this region, in fear of any monsters arriving. Which, again, I don't think is likely, but when it comes to crystals, and given that in the last episode I allowed a couple of crystals to get eaten, which was a highly embarrassing situation for me to deal with, I really do have no desire for that occurring again. So let's come down here and see what else we can find. The answer to that is a heckin' load of hard rock. And not a tremendous amount else. Yeah, this is going to take us... this going to take us a wee while. In fact, we might do a little jump cut just until we get through this, because otherwise we're going to be here for hundreds of millions of years. Long enough for the rubber in our tyres to decompose and turn into oil again. I don't want to say again, because we've got absolutely no proof whatsoever that there is oil on this planet, but that isn't the point. I know basically nothing about geology, so I'm making a fool of myself as per the standard programming. And somehow, goodness only knows how, only I could have managed this. I've actually managed to yammer on long enough that we have actually reached the next cavern. And some more water. Oh, good. Oh, good. I was just thinking to myself about how I wanted a glass of water. Alright, how much of a pickle is this? Not a huge pickle, because again, we can trace our way around it. Probably not going to get anything through here. I'm going to send you off to drill around there, because I don't think that's really going to lead us anywhere interesting. And then I'll drill down here, which will hopefully lead us into another cavern that will lead us off into this bumpy bit. We can discover the source of the bumps. Like some sort of ancient doctor. Right, I shall shut up for a few minutes, and, oh goodness, we finally built a thing! Oh yeah, this, which we don't need anymore, but never mind, might get a tunnel transport at some point, but, yeah, that was kind of a complete waste of crystals. It also demonstrates precisely how long it takes these poor chaps to walk. But, never mind. Never mind them and their tardy tootsies. Let's just carry on. Yeah, look, it looks like we can punch our way through here. So that should be good and interesting. And I'll leave the rest of this for the granite grinder to sort out. So how many are we going to have to punch through here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, which is more than a trifle and less than a handful as far as I'm concerned. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We are sort of connecting up all of the individual caverns, which is nice, rather than being all sort of long strings that don't really lead anywhere, because I imagine we'll punch through here and connect up these two caverns as well, which would be lovely. Right, what have we found? Load of ore. Not a load of a lot of else. Alright, good dear. I suppose we'll go this way. Yes, I suppose we'll go this way and see what we find. I'm guessing the energy crystals are probably going to be around about here. Like, as far away from everything else as they possibly could be, because I have a vague understanding of how Baz's brain works after playing a few of their levels, so I have learned. Oh, good. Drilling us out for the hope of finding crystals was not a completely vain effort. Good. Good, good, good. Okay, let me set a couple more things to drill. So that we'll only have to punch through 1 or 2 walls here before we reveal another cavern. I do like that here on the map, it's, oh, goodness. I'm gonna drill out most other stuff first, just in case. Just in case my theory about monsters finally gets proven wrong. No, what I was going to say before I got horrifically interrupted is that, if we look on the map here, I like that the little character icon is so far ahead that, so far... Oh, he's not so far ahead. You ruined my stupid thing, goodness. I was going to say that he, yeah, there we are, look. The little character thing here is actually inside the rock, which I guess technically he is, especially on this angle. He is actually kind of moving into that tile, which is interesting, if you're highly interested by the uninteresting. So me, basically, with my quite simple brain. Right then, I guess, actually... I'm nervous. I shouldn't be, but I'm nervous. Alright, we're going to need to have a, oh, that's pretty, isn't it? Like an ancient Roman mosaic in an atrium. How lovely. Yeah, let's bring the Chrome Crusher down here as well, just in case of villains who wish to come and gore. Am I crazy for thinking an energy crystal just kind of pinged off into the side of the universe there? Am I crazy for thinking that? I don't know. I'm gonna have to analyze that frame by frame in order to check that. I could have absolutely sworn upon a star I saw a crystal ping off in that direction, like a cartoon character who's just sat on a pin. No, apparently not. At least I can't see any. So apparently it was flying at such a horrific pace that it smashed its way through the wall, like a bullet from a gun. Okay then, it looks like, now that I think about it, it's going to take us for frickin' ever to get these crystals home. But never mind. At least give us a chance to mine out a few other bits and bobs. So, yes, I shall bring the Chrome Crusher back over here. And bring that over here, and what I'm going to do actually is start bringing down a couple of little trucks. So let me bring down our little truck. Let me not bring down a little truck, because this building requires power. Yes, because we're going to turn the power on, because I'm a muppet. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me force the situation with you. Must trade his driver, choose his vehicle. Well, fiddlesticks and darn everything. For goodness sake. Are you a driver? Yes, you are. Thank goodness for that. But you didn't go to get sandwiches. Oh, because that's offline. Oh, I've been depriving all of my people of sustenance. I'm not what you'd call the world's most ethical manager of human resources. Oh, you blithering idiots, why are you driving off 100 miles to get the ones all the way over there when you get those ones? Probably because those ones have already been assigned to be picked up by somebody that was 100 miles away. Oh man, you gotta love the AI in Rock Raiders, eh? Yeah, look at them all. trudging along at the speed of arthritic slugs. Excellent. Okay. Well, we got one little truck going anyway. Alright, we'll drill out a few of these other little bits, although I doubt we'll find much of interest in there, but, no, I was going to hold out some false hope there, but I decided that it was but foolish folly. Is anybody ever going to pick these crystals up? The answer to that question is yes, unless you're going to say you have to train as haulage expert before able to. How do I put this bloody thing down? How do I put it down, man? I don't know how I did that, but there we are. Giddy, I'll do it myself if I have to. Okay, right. Let me pop this in here, which will allow me to test something I forgot to test before. What if it does make the noise? That's weird. I noticed that some people were suggesting that the noise for the sound effect for these for the this get put back in the game, but no, it obviously is playing. It seems to be playing a bit more quietly than it used to, but no, it definitely is playing, which is nice and also weird because I could have chucked it in the wrong direction. That's a hell of a handshake, mate. Giddy aunt. Get employed at all the Christmas parties with that one. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going with that. And by Christmas parties I meant children's parties, because you don't hire magicians for Christmas parties unless you're having a really crap one. Not to poo-poo anybody's Christmas party that involves magicians, but you know, you do kind of have to be a small child in order to be entertained by these things. What rubbish was I talking about before I started talking about this rubbish? Goodness only knows. Yes, yeah. When I read that people were saying that the sound effect should be brought back, it kind of struck a chord with me because I thought, oh yeah, I don't ever remember hearing that sound, but no, obviously it is there, and I haven't updated this version of Manic Miners in several months actually. I'm not entirely sure when it was. No idea. Probably the episode before last, I think, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't matter anyway. But no. Obviously, the developer was taking a very well-earned break in order to rest and recuperate after reaching 1.0. So naturally, there have not been a lot of other updates, but there's still a lot more crystals to get, and of course, we could get down a load more trucks. But we will. Yes, in fact, we will do that because there's not a lot of point in not doing it. Will you actually go for a sandwich this time? Yes, you will. Good. I'm glad to see that I'm not the only crazy person here. Right. If you'd like to get in there, please. I mean, if you'd like to jump up and down for a few minutes first, and then get in the car. Which I must say is not how I learned to drive a car. I did not do jumping jacks, or star jumps, or whatever under the sun you wish to call them, in order to learn, and it certainly took me longer than about 30 seconds. Goodness knows, for crying out loud. I literally brought these people down to do nothing but haul things around, but still, it would have been nice if they could have, you know, sped it up a bit. The hell was I rambling on about? Oh yes, it took me significantly longer than 30 seconds to learn to drive a car, but that shouldn't really surprise you, given that I still, after 3.5 years, have not learned how to play a video game or tell a decent joke. The other slightly irritating thing, of course, is that because I'm training these people to be drivers, they're then going to go into the crew on the LMS Explorer, as I've only got 10 or 11 folks in there, and it can go up to a maximum of 25, I think. So, yeah, I'm going to have to chuck these people out an airlock afterwards, for the sake of them coming down again afterwards. But, although saying that, if I hadn't chucked them out of the airlock last time, then I wouldn't need to be training them as drivers this time. So there's something to be said for not viciously murdering people because they're slightly inconvenient. My giddy aunt, did that frighten me for a second. Sorry, I thought I was getting assimilated for a second then. Hooray, we did it and everything. Alright, let's just pop a thing on you for a second. So how many more have we got coming back? Got a few there, we've got one there, and we've got a few initial trucks. We've got that one, which seems to have been a little bit forgotten about. But then after that, we is about done. I'm most terribly sorry. I just heard a squawking outside my window, presumably of some bird, by which I do not mean a cockney wench. Strange noise. I've lived here my entire life. I've never heard a bird like that before. That was very strange. That sounded like, sort of bird you hear at sea or something. That's very strange. I mean, you do sometimes get seagulls around here when they're ploughing the fields, because it sort of upturns all the, That's going to take for frickin' ever, mate. Because it sort of upturns all of the worms and things, I think. So, where is the Brickster? Where has the Brickster gone? The Brickster has mischief to do. If you'd be so kind as to dump all of that on the floor, we can go and do a bit of mischief. For I know of a thing that you can do in this game, giddy up, which I can't even remember if I've shown it to you before or not. Right, where is our mark? There is our mark. Right, I'll be having that if you didn't mind, which I'm sure that you do. I'm sure you wanted the glory of bringing it home yourself, but ha-ha, we are the Brickster, and we have mischief to make. So, yes, we're going to pinch that out of their hand, and then we're going to drive off with it. Ha-ha, we did it and everything. Okie doke, I reckon that is about everything. Yeah, I think we've drilled out all the walls, the frame rate hasn't died, which is tremendous. We haven't cleared the rubble or, well, there's a few walls of it. There's nothing interesting behind them anyway, so we'll... Yes, as much as I'd like to strip mine this place, there have to be limits on times, if nothing else, so, I reckon we've about done it. In fact, I would say that did go quite seamlessly, given that we didn't really screw up anything, we didn't encounter any lava or any monsters, so tremendous. Right then, don't look at these numbers. Right then, let's carry on with our life. So, next we shall play, which is another one which seems to have its picture, thumbnail, whatever you want to call it, in the wrong place, but never mind. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. But we shall do that in a minute, once I've had my little break. So, I will rest my voice for 5 minutes, and then we'll get all lathered up in slime. I promise to never say that ever again, I absolutely promise. What do you want to bet this video gets ruined by audio corruption as well? What do you bet? I'm going to bet quite a large amount of money. Oh, yeah. It ain't whiskey, but maybe it ought to be. Right, let's stop beating around the sluggo bush and get the hell on with it. Greetings, Rock Raider. We found another cavern rich in energy crystals. However, we have detected small unknown entities in the cavern. Build up your base and collect 64 energy crystals. Oh, good. My favourite thing in the whole world. Yes, which at least was quite everything else. Right, you are not a normal person. I don't wish to have any normal people. I need crazy people, because only crazy people can come up with plans crazy enough in order to actually win this situation. Oh dear. Oh dear. Actually, guns. Guns, guns, guns! I apologise, but I'm gonna let my minute American ancestry take over here and implore that we solve this situation by arming everyone. Do you have a gun? You probably shouldn't, given you're some sort of convicted criminal, but you know. You know, doesn't matter. Oh good, more slugholes. More slugholes! This would probably be a really good level to have a mining laser in, now that I think about it. Now that I thinks about it, this would be a real good level for that, because of course I can use it for base defense. So, why do you... Oh, I do have a teleport pad. Sorry, I jumped to conclusions and assumed that I didn't have one for some stupid reason. No, what I don't have is my support station. I am without support. Where should I put this? I feel like I should probably build my buildings away from the slugholes, so that they have to travel ever so slightly further in order to reach them, which might involve moving my power station. But for the right here and the right now, I'm going to build... yes, I'm going to build a piece of power path there, because maybe I can move my power station there. Yes, sorry, I was just checking the orientation. But no, the orientation is perfectly acceptable. Yeah, if we clear this bit of rubble here, then we can pop our support station here, and we can move our power station down here. It'll only protect us by, what is that, 2 squares, but you know. You know, you need every weapon you've got when it comes to warring with the worms. If we get all of the crystals out by building things as well, that might dissuade the occasional slug-faced bastard to come over here and thoroughly jeopardize my enjoyment of the evening. For it was certainly the case in the original game, in Back to Basics that is, given that Back to Basics was nigh on the only level that had any slugs in it. Which is something I might yammer on about a bit in a minute. Oh, we got the landslides back, that's nice. I mean, not really, because they're a pain in the bum, but it wouldn't be Rock Raiders if a landslide hadn't occurred. Yes, of course, in the original Rock Raiders, in fact, Basics, the slugs spawning was dependent, to some degree at least, on the number of crystals that you had in your stock. Once you got up to like 8 or 9, that's when the slugs started coming hard and fast. So, yes. So I wonder if the spawning mechanics might have similar on here. Can I just check something? Can I just check the options for a minute? The gameplay options, yes. Slug spawn rate, 100%. Good, that's what it should be. I just remember the end of the video that wasn't on 1.0, that was on release candidate 4 or 5 or whatever it was called, which contained the slug petting mechanics. So I remember going back to basics and trying to have a little fun with that, which of course involved kicking the slug spawn rate through the ceiling. So I just wanted to make sure that I'd undone that particular little boo-boo. Should I bother putting some fence up? I mean, fence is completely pointless. Tell you what I should do actually is realise we didn't have air for that whole earlier period. I didn't even notice that. It's a good thing we built a support station, otherwise I would have just suffocated. I didn't hear any, your air supply is running out! I didn't hear any of that, and I sort of just assumed that everything was fine. But no. No. What I need to do, of course, is to give people, Sonic Blasters! And sandwiches, but when they're finished with their sandwiches, Sonic Blasters. Please don't muddle those things up. I don't want to see you chucking ham sandwiches at slugs, or trying to chow down on some sort of Sonic Boom Boom box. Sonic Boom Boom box sounds like a really, really poor machine translation of, like a Sega Genesis device. But never mind, we'll leave that to its own decade, and I'll carry on talking about a game from a vaguely similar decade, certainly more similar than the one we're currently in. Alright, should we upgrade that so that we're back to where we were before? This is kind of implying I should get some vehicles, which seems sensible. Because of course the thing is the slugs can't, at least to the best of my knowledge, when it comes to this game, the slugs can't drain power from crystals, which is just crystals that are just lying on the floor. I mean, they need a building in order to act as a medium for it, which kind of begs the question of how they feed naturally. But perhaps they are capable of drinking the crystals, just lying on the ground. Of course, we do see that in the oh, bloody hell! Ow, bloody hell! At least there aren't a tremendous number of sluggos, which always makes me happy. Yes, of course, in one of the early cutscenes we do see the slugs draining a crystal that's sitting in the back of a truck, so presumably they are capable of drinking crystals that are just sitting on the ground, but they choose to do it from buildings because presumably that's a richer source for them. So now that we've got a bit more air, I'm going to bring down a few more peeps, and then I'm going to equip them with weapons so that we are better able to defend ourselves. Speaking of weapons and defending ourselves, I should really build that mining laser I was yammering on about before. Where shall I build it? I shall build it. I shall build it here in the corner for reasons I don't understand, because it's wildly inefficient and stupid, just like everything else I've done with my life. Right, yes, let us plonk it. Let us plonk it right about there. Thank you, Axel. I shall carve your name into the foundations. Either that or we'll just carve your name into a gravestone. One or the other, depending on how well this battle goes. How big is this map as well? I didn't even think to check that. Not tremendously girthy. A bit bumpy-licious hither and thither, but not tremendously so. Good, good. I can live with that. And hopefully the slugs can die with it as well. Not that you can kill a slug in this game, because if you do get a slug's health down to 0, they just burrow into the ground wherever it is that they're currently standing. Right, we can now do some zappage. Okay, good. Oh. Sorry, I got worried there for a second with that delayed animation. Sorry, I wondered if shooting them might provoke them and cause them to attack prematurely, and then when that animation turned up, I got a bit worried, so I did. Right then, and those of you who don't have them, please go and get Sonic Blasters, which bizarrely seems to be all of you, despite the fact that you should already have a bloody Sonic Blaster. But you don't seem to. Why do you not have a bloody Sonic Blaster? What did it do? Expire? You're telling me these things come with best before dates? I don't remember reading that in the contract. Oh, goodness, I don't know which way to go. I'm just nervous. Yeah, I'm not going to bother putting up any fence, I don't think. There's not a hell of a lot of point. We could build it along there. Can you put... Oh no, you can't put anything there. There has been some discussion about things like being able to put Power Path over the top of a slug hole, which they'd be able to burrow through in time, but in order to eventually recover, but not permanently. In the same way that you can build Power Path next to a piece of lava in order to delay the eroding. But I don't really know whether that will ever come to fruition or not, because of course it's always a case of whether or not it's going to bugger the balancing in the game. So there's certainly that to think about. The thing about this one, of course, is we need a relatively large number of crystals. We also need some Dawn Mod. Stop blowing things to bits, so we do. Where did that one appear? Over here, which is the exact place I didn't really want it to appear? Yes! Naturally. What was I yammering on about? Probably something ridiculous and stupid and unnecessary. Oh, yes! These, yes. Yeah, there's been some discussion about sort of how to create other mechanics to these, but whether any of them will ever arrive, one doesn't know. But I certainly like that you've got all the sliders now in order to change the spawn rate so that you can make things as easy or as difficult as you please, which I think is quite nice, because it was a little frustrating sometimes to be thrown at the deep end with Back to Basics if you'd never encountered slugs before, and unless you'd randomly encountered them during Back to Rock Hard, you of course would never have seen the slugs before. This looks interesting. This looks interesting. It goes to a place where we can do a thing. Very interesting. Yes, yes, because the vast majority of my lifetime of playing Rock Hard, I never saw any slugs in that level, and then a few times, not many times, only like 2 or 3 times, I think, in my entire life of playing Rock Hard, did slugs spawn. So they definitely do spawn there sometimes, just not tremendously often, because of course they have the holes are there for them, but seldom do they ever stick their slimy faces out. Sorry, I keep mistaking this green blob in the corner for a different green blob. Right, let us see what is through here. Something good, but simultaneously worrisome. Which is the interesting dynamic that we've got going on in this level, because on the one hand I really want to collect up crystals, on the other hand I kind of don't, because it would almost be easier not to have any crystals here. Because what I'd like to do is sort of reveal all the crystals, but not actually get them in my base, and just sort of leave them on the floor, and then just collect them all up right at the end. Which I guess you could do by just turning off the collecting crystals priority, so that they'd mine them out, but then just leave them on the floor. But then of course the trouble with that is if there's monsters, they'll just go and eat them. So the alternative really is to pick them up in trucks and then put your trucks inside of your base, which is surrounded by electric fence, and then get somebody out of the truck so that they leave the things in the truck instead of putting them in the base. or just beam down vehicles to act as a placeholder for crystals, which you can then beam up at the end, which of course was a classic strategy for beating Back to Basics, and one of my personal favourites, as much as it was a pretty terrible idea really, because it put too much strain on the game and caused it to crash endlessly. So it was high risk but high reward. Alright, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of adjust my strategy a little. I'm going to try and minimise the number of crystals I expose by drilling out these pieces, but I'm going to leave these ones here so that this doesn't get mined out, so that we can come back to this a little bit later and get them closer to the end once we've dealt with this situation. So we have a callback to a stupid tiny video I did ages ago. Zap. Indeed. Death has been dealt. And this has made me a very happy man. Alright then, let's have a look over here. So there is a little cavern here which comes through the arse end of this seemingly. Oh, bollocks. Ow, bollocks! Blast him in the face! How much damage does this do? Quite a lot, actually. And it stuns him. Excellent. Get your butt out of here. Good. That didn't go tremendously, but that's mainly because everybody was nearby. If everyone had been quite far away, we'd have been utterly screwed. The other trouble, of course, is that there's not a lot of point in me trying to get two mining lasers, because I can't control both at the same time. Oh, for crying out loud. For crying out loud! How much damage does this do? 35. That's not terrible, actually, because it means only 2 blasts and they run. That's pretty good, actually. 2 blasts per slug is not a terrible ratio of demons to death. Be a bloody interesting calculation, but never mind. From where? From there? No, well, I don't really worry about alerting people to that, because I can just shoot you in the face. I'll just zap you in the face, can't I? Yes, I can. I'm also curious to see if you'll go to the nearest slug hole instead of the one you originally came from, so I need to get a little closer and shoot you in the face. No, you will go back to the original one. That's interesting. Because if this game is limited to the number of slugs that you can get out, let's get a nice little thumbnail or something going on. There we are, with a vaguely reasonable looking face on it, because it does annoy me when I find a nice thumbnail, and then I can't choose it because I'm putting some sort of stupid face. But never mind any of that rubbish. That's just the difficulties I go through on this in this ridiculous little hobby of mine. No, because I believe, and I could be mistaken about this, that the original Rock Raiders had it. Would you die in a fire, you infernal little hellspawn? Or die in a laser, that would work as well. Thank you very much. I think the original Rock Raiders was limited to the number of slugs that could be spawned at any given time. In that, if they wanted to spawn more slugs, it would have to wait for a couple to go back into the holes before they could bring any more out. Again, probably to limit the amount of strain that the game was under in terms of loading all the animations and then drilling that out, which I didn't actually mean to do, but I don't really even remember that happening. But it did. And we're all just going to have to live with that fact. But hey-ho, we can just add it to the great big book of evidence that I'm a dunce. Oh, now you are going to that one. Interesting. What's up with you, you weirdo? Can I shoot you in order to demonstrate what happens when they die? No, I can't. Interesting. Have they been changed then, so that once they reach their retreat amount of health, they then don't take any more damage? Interesting. That'd be kind of nice if in fact it means that people stop fighting them, because it means they can stop fighting enemies that are retreating and can instead fight enemies which are still attacking, which is nice, because it means they prioritize a little bit better. And goodness knows when it comes to slug levels, you have to prioritize carefully and effectively and not frig everything up like I always do. Oh, for goodness sake, we might be here a while. People have suggested a multiplayer being added to this game. I'm not, I'm not against the idea. I'm not really enthused by it. I'm not a fan of multiplayer games. I really don't see the appeal. Probably because I'm some sort of anti-gregarious goon. But, beyond that, Yeah, well, you know, I just rather they put their efforts into making other features rather than multiplayer mode. But I imagine if there's substantial demand for it, people will want it and people will eventually get it. But yes, I suppose if there was a multiplayer mode, then you could have sort of a dedicated defender who managed a number of people around your base in order to keep it safe, while somebody else went off and did some mining, which would bring about interesting dynamics, if nothing else. Alright, I reckon we should keep mining in this direction for a little while, because it seems like my main job at the moment is pest control, which I don't wholly remember consenting to. That's a little better. I've also just realised that this was a real stupid thing to do, because I moved the power station away for the specific reason that there wouldn't be a building too close to this. And then I went and built a building right next to it, like some sort of bozo. Oh, good. Oh, goodness me. Thank you. I don't guess there's like a... I don't know, I was wondering if there'd be like a first-person mode to this. That'd be kind of cool if you could have like a little first-person mode and you could sort of sit in it and then sort of move the camera around in order to shoot at villains. That should be kind of nice. Yeah, this is actually going to be really difficult for me to do because I want to leave people to their own devices just to mine stuff out. I don't want to constantly be bugging them by making them deal with the slugs. But then at the same time, that leaves only me to deal with them, which means as soon as two of them arrive, we're screwed. Which is going to be an interesting situation because they're coming thick and fast. Idiot. Let's ignore all of the innuendos and pretend like none of it exists. Okay, let me set all of this stuff to get mined out as well. There is a seam behind there, isn't there? Yes, not that it would care to tell me. It'll tell me that though instead, which is another piece of lovely information for me. Die! Idiot! I'll shoot you in the face with the laser. Hopefully I'll kill you and I won't just fix your frickin' eyesight. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Another thing I kind of wish you could do in terms of base defense would be like to root a couple of people. Like if I could get 5 people, because you can assign people to teams now, right? Like I can't even remember how to do it because I'm not as much of a real-time strategy. Despite being thoroughly addicted to playing this bloody game, I'm not actually that interested in real-time strategy games. Words. Connect them into sentences in order to communicate your ideas. This is the rough concept of communication, which explains why I suck at it. Yes, you can put people into teams so that I could press like button 1 in order to get like group 1 people so that I could take them off to do a different job, and then I could ask team 2 to do something different, which is nice, but it would be nice if I could kind of like bind a certain team to a place. Like I could bind team 1 to say this square and then they'll never move out of a certain proximity within it, which means there would always be some people around here, because otherwise everyone's going to get stuck over here. I'm going to turn on action stations and it's going to take them forever in order to actually get here in order to defend the place, so we would be stuck. We'd be a heckin' bit stuck, so we would, and I need to really hold down the mouse button instead of frantically clicking it like a maniac. Because, A, that's very annoying because of how clickety-clickety this mouse is. In fact, how all mice are. I've never in my entire life encountered a silent mouse. I've heard of silent keyboards. I've owned a silent keyboard, and it was not frickin' silent. I can't even remember if this was supposed to be a silent keyboard. This keyboard's certainly a lot quieter than the old one, which you could hear clicking and clacking in the older videos before I replaced it, for no other reason the fact that I went to university and forgot to take my keyboard with me, which meant I was left with computer and without keyboard, and I had an exam to do which involved typing, so I had to buy one right proper quick so that I could actually do my exam, as another testimony to how frickin' stupid I am. But no, I'd like a quiet mouse if any such thing ever did exist, but I think most people like the clickety-clicker. I also don't like getting interrupted from my drink because of beasts. They do seem to have the sense to spawn in the closest hole, which is quite sensible, although also quite annoying. Ah, right. We're a third of the way to our goal, but we're not motoring along tremendously quickly. I might get a couple. Oh goodness, I might get a couple of little trucks and things, which is going to minimise the number of hands I've got for fighting. But I can always bring down a few more peeps and give them guns, because of course they don't need any training for such things. So yeah, I'm going to get a couple of little trucks so that they can be moving, if nothing else, the crystals around quite expeditiously. Although they'll just spend most of their life moving the ore around, which is a bit of a shame. Still rather wish there was like a priorities menu for vehicles and then for people, so that I could say, for people, turn off energy crystal collecting, and then for vehicles, turn off ore collecting, so that they can have dedicated jobs. Which would be quite nice, but maybe that would be complicated to program. I don't know. Goodness knows I'd struggle to program a function which calculated a simple average in Python, so don't come to me when it comes to advice about how to program things. Okay, we've got a couple of those, which is lovely. I wouldn't mind getting a little digger as well, I think. Yes, and you can sit in it, why don't you? Of course, we won't get us through any hard rock that we find, although saying that, I haven't seen any hard rock yet, apart from little bits hither and thither. So, we might be alright, but I don't really want to go through the faff of building a, I don't really want to go through the faff of building a super teleport pad, because that's going to, put another building down, which is going to make us that much more vulnerable. So, yeah, let me relocate my buttocks to a slightly less irritating position, and then, where is that crystal that's been discovered? I don't know. You know what I should do, actually? I should actually do my job and defend the place. Sorry. I got a bit exciting interning as a truck driver, and I got too excited. Right. Sorry, I thought that we revealed the crystal here, and I was just curious why they'd suddenly spawned out of there in order to come and attack the base. I was wondering whether they were going to drain the crystal that was right there, but seemingly not. Seemingly that wasn't the case. I don't think it would really matter if they did drain the crystal there. I mean, it doesn't really matter if they drain the crystal anyway, because I've got trucks that can just get the crystals and put them in the recharge seam. But the trouble with that is that in the original game, as best I recall, slugs had a, I'm going to call it a satiation variable, right? Whereby there was a level of crystals that they could drink before they would then eventually become bored, and then they would leave. But I seem to remember from our video on Back to Basics that that is not the case in this version. Of course, that video was made on a much older version, so there's no reason to believe that that hasn't been changed in the intervening period of time. Would you people care to get out of the way so that I don't shoot you in the arse? Don't really wish to laser my friends in the arse. It's not quite what I've got on my bucket list. Is that a... Hang on a minute. Two have appeared at the same bloody time. Oh gosh, I think this... Oh no, two haven't appeared at the same time. One came out as one went in. Which, I feel like there's a joke to be made in there, but goodness knows I'm not intelligent enough to put it together soon enough. There's some lava there, which I look forward to dealing with. Just tell me it doesn't erode. Just tell me it doesn't erode. Right, I'm going to have to shoot you from a squiffy angle. It's going to make my life a little difficult, but never mind. Managed it. Yeah, this if they don't start spawning in 2s and 3s at the same time, we might be alright. I do find myself wondering, actually, whether... Because the mining laser's doing 35 damage, right? Which is a lot, right? It's a hell of a lot. But I wonder if something else, like an upgraded large mobile laser cutter or an upgraded chrome crusher, might possibly do more damage per shot. I mean, it would have to do double the damage per shot now that I think about it. Because at the moment it's taking 2 blasts to get rid of a slug. So even if they did like 50 damage, it would still be 2 blasts. So we'd need something that did literally 70 damage per shot before they went away in 1 blast, which would make life more efficient in terms of the amount of time I need to spend fighting each individual slug. So I find it somewhat unlikely that the mining laser only does half of what a upgraded chrome crusher or large mobile laser cutter does, but they might do a little bit more damage. But I mean, I guess having something that did a bit more damage would be useful if you were combining the mining laser or the laser that you're using, that is, with foot soldiers, because you could you could do more damage, which meant the remainder of the damage before you reach a health of 30 could be done by the people. Yeah, I get the distinct impression that their rapidity is becoming their namesake. What am I talking about? I'm trying to say that they're arriving faster, but for some bizarre reason my brain is thoroughly addicted to making incredibly convoluted and contrived sentences, which I imagine make these videos very difficult to listen to if you don't speak English. Well, I mean, if you don't speak English fluently. I mean, hell, I imagine fluent English speakers, native speakers are crying out loud with decades of experience will struggle to understand what I say. To be honest, I struggle to understand what I say half the time, and I'm the one saying all of it. What are they yammering on about? Oh, yeah. I don't know why I have such a compulsion to overcomplicate my sentences. I do. I guess my fear is that I end up just saying the same things over and over again if I don't try to make my phrases more novel. Right, just shoot you in the face. You think you people would learn? Oh gosh, I don't know if I can aim that far down. Shoot him in the bum! Oh, it worked. Tremendous. Sorry. Go back to your business. Everything's fine. We had a little bit of a panic, little bit of a flap, but everything's better now. Right, come on. Stick your wiggly face around the corner and I'll shoot you. There we are. That's much better. Dear, goodness sake, could I get 5 seconds break? Apparently not, no. This is going to be seriously difficult, because I'm just going to have to, like, race off and set a few tasks out. In fact, what I might do is just set, like, a load of this stuff to get drilled out. There we go. Which will give them a few jobs to be getting on with. In fact, what I might do is I'll leave that up so that you can see actually how they're getting along. I won't be able to look at that, of course, because I'll be slightly busy practicing my marksmanship. But at least you'll get something else to look at instead of this mining laser, which reminds me a little bit of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with this little thing on the end, which I don't wholly understand why it's red, given that the lasers that come out of it are green. But never mind, doesn't matter. Mind you, the ends of gun barrels. What the? Pay attention, Phil. Please do that thing. Idiot. Oh, so they're stunned, but they're not, it doesn't stop them from draining the energy. Interesting. It was also interesting there, because he seemed to, retreat, despite the fact he wasn't at 30 health. Interesting, so does getting blasted with a sonic blaster encourage them to leave faster? I don't know. I don't know. But having a box which makes a horrific noise, which you can chuck at people and encourages them to leave, could be very useful at Christmas with the in-laws. So as far as I'm concerned, these sonic blasters are going to be an excellently saleable product when we return home to Earth. Oh, for goodness sake. We could be here a while. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, bloody hell! Yeah, you stun the first one, and then that will also give them enough time in order to shoot him to bits. There we are. See, again, he's retreating, but he hasn't reached 30 health. Interesting. There's definitely some kind of interplay between... That's the name of a games company, isn't it? Sorry, random cross connection of wires in my brain there, which threw me through a loop for a second. But no, yeah, there's some kind of interaction between the the sonic blasters and the guns is what I'm trying to say. I'm failing miserably to say because I'm a dub brain. Oh my Gideon! Oh my Gideon! Would you kindly stop being a big pain in my foundations? Where the hell am I going to build my super teleport pad? I really need one, but I don't know how to get one. I think what I'm going to have to do, and this is going to be a bit long-winded, and for that I apologise, but what I'll do is I'll build a second support station here. I'll then... Oh, for goodness sake. I should also get docks out of the digger so that he can carry on working. Yeah, let's build that there, and then we'll build a second support station here, and then once that's ready and can resupply our oxygen, I'll then beam the other one up, so that we then reveal those 4 spaces behind. because then that'll keep the buildings as far away from the slugholes as possible. As possible. I'm about as far away from addiction or ward as anybody with no tongue. But yeah, just because we've got... Imagine we've got 10 people. Why don't I get a few more people, actually? That would be... why don't I get 5 extra people? That way I can give them... Oh, I can give them guns, can't I? Oh, goodness. I like that... Where? From where? Oh, from there! I do apologise. I didn't see. I was being stupid. Wasn't the first time. Wasn't the first time that my life was endangered by my own stupidity. Right. Yeah, let's get those crystals back as well for the sake of having those couple of extra ones. Yeah, I like that you can select all of the... Oh, we can't have 15 people. Bollocks. Big blustering bollocks. We are going to have to find those people and eliminate them. Which probably isn't going to be you because you want a sandwich. Right, give me a moment while I track down a few little silly billies. Yes, I'm going to go with you two. Probably you two as well, I imagine. No, not you. Definitely you. That's 3 of them. I'm going to shoot you in the face again. Giddy on. You wonder what speed these people reproduce. And by people, I mean slugs. And by reproduce, I mean recuperate. No, you're fine. You're not a problem. You, whoever, are a bit of a pain in my bum. And there's one more of you hanging around somewhere. It's not you, though. Is it you? You can't hide behind a power station. I have the incorrect perspective for this. Shut up. Is not what anybody has ever said when they realise they were wrong in a debate. Right then, we've sorted that ridiculous problem out, so trying to expand my battle force did not function as intended. Let me plonk this here, ideally relatively quickly, so that they can just pick the crystals up and then put them straight back down again, rather than having to cart them all over the place. And while they're doing that, I will be a good little caretaker, and I will keep them safe by zapping all of their bums. Well, that's interesting. So presumably he's ever so slightly closer to the support station than he is to the mining laser. That's curious. Where's he coming from? Over here? Yes, don't know why the thing is moving so slowly. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Dear, I do rather miss the days when you could damage them while they were still in their exiting animation, to coin a phrase. But I do appreciate that was a little bit overpowered at the time. Okay, so we need 62 crystals, which is another 16 than we've already got. So, although saying that, we've got 2 trucks, that'll be 6. So technically, we only need another 10. So I'm gonna bring down a granite grinder. Probably yes, because I don't need to do much defending around the areas that I mine out. I need to do defending here at home. When precisely did you get permission to do that, you mischievous little bean? And by bean, I mean wiggly poo monster. If you are having, you know, excretions that are bright green and have glowing eyes, and try to, you know, suckle on your batteries, as it were, I would advise you go to a doctor, you know. I appreciate that unsolicited medical advice on the internet has got a bit of a bad rap over the last couple of years, and very rightly so, but still, it would be my advice that you do get a professional to take a wee look at that. Right then, let's just find a person. Let's just find you, because frankly I'm not wholly sure I trust you with a gun. And we will get that upgraded, and then we'll send that off to do a bit of mining. There we go. Really glad it doesn't consume energy to do that. Really, really glad about that. Although, again, oh gosh. They're not actually coming as rapidly as I thought they'd be. There's another filthy joke in there I could make, but for once in my life, I'm going to rise above it. Yeah, we'll send the... I'll stay here and not look at the rest of the map, because that's a fun thing to do with my evening. No, not that, for crying out loud. Zap him in the arse. Taser his buttocks post-haste. Yes, hello little friend. You're going to receive exactly the same treatment that all of your brothers and sisters have just received. Which kind of begs the question why you people don't learn. Dear oh dear oh dear. I mean, my general advice would be if people are telling you things about experiences that they've had, you're going to have a better experience if you go out and actually see those places and do those things for yourself, rather than just relying on the foretellings of others. But, you know, at the same time, if they've gone to a place and said, I went there and I got shot in the bum with a laser by a crazy person who wouldn't shut up, who kept talking from the sky, then, you know, I wouldn't really advise that you go and have that experience for yourself, because it will be a bit of a bummer. And you'll probably have quite a lot of doctor's bills afterwards as they try to pry all the bits of laser out of your bum. But, these slugs clearly do not believe in that sort of advice. Right, there's a few crystals here, but not a tremendous amount. But then again, we don't need a tremendous amount. And we've still got all of that area over there to have a wee look at as well. So, set all of this to get mined out, although I imagine people will come and do this, which will get on my nerves. People, irritating people doing people things. Giddy aunt, I've got to go back and do my people thing. Crying out loud, I'm having a bloody job. I don't play this game to have a job, I play this game to forget about the fact I've got a job, for goodness sake. Oh, shoot him. Thank you. I keep forgetting that I need to just hold the button down. Oh, giddy aunt, let me hold the button down. Because now it will just shoot as soon as it's ready, rather than me clicking frantically, like some sort of clicking kook. Lad. Just want to go and have a look at all of the little crystals. You know, I want to do a bit of rock raiding, not base defending. Okay, they are coming a little bit faster now, but I am managing to keep them under control. Maybe it would be a good idea to relocate your base in here, actually. I don't know how many buildings should fit in there, but yeah, if you relocated your base in there and then plonked your mining laser there, you could have a better time of this. Or if you like rebuilt your base like really far over here or something, away from all the slug holes. Because it does seem a bit weird that the slug holes are only around the original base camp. Mainly that's just so that you can tell by people's opinions of this level whether they're any good at it or not. Because if they're good at it, they'll say, I moved my base and everything was fine. And if they're bad at it, they'll say, I didn't move my base and it was difficult. And it means you'll know who's clever and who's stupid. Understandably, I'm here with my base in the very same place that it was put here originally. But yeah, I really think taking advantage of a place like this or somewhere else would be a fine strategy for minimizing the effect that the slugs would have on your base. Because it really doesn't seem like there are any other slug holes anywhere, actually, which is a bit weird. That really does surprise me, because Back to Basics has loads of other slug holes in it, as I learned from playing Back to Basics before the slugs got re-implemented in. Re-implemented in, not what I meant to say in the slightest. But never mind, I said it and we're all going to have to deal with that fact. I've set a few of these things to be mined out so that I can go back to work. At least I'm not in terrible demand at the moment. Yes, Back to Basics had slug holes all over the map, despite the fact that slugs probably would never spawn from those because they'd spawn from the closer ones unless you relocated your base. And frankly, I really need to stop using the camera like that, don't I? The thing is I want to be facing in the direction of the slug, but then when they get too close, it then ends up pointing back at me. So that I can then just kind of shoot myself with it when I realise that that's precisely how bad at this game I am, that I deserve such a thing. No, oh, buzz off. I wish to talk about this wall. I don't really want to mine this wall down because it's going to expose this slug hole to the arse end of my base, which is going to be a massive pain in my bum. So you'll forgive me if I leave this wall here and I don't do anything with it. Guy! Thank you, I appreciate your sacrifice. You'd think we could spare a few crystals for these poor beasts. I'm sorry, but the kind of, you know, the guy in me that doesn't want to see the entirety of the world and all of its innocent animals in it burn, that tiny little part of me, right, is just kind of feeling a little bit bad about the fact that we're just meandering in here and just stealing these creatures' food and not giving them any sustenance in return for it. I really feel like we should share. But never mind. I'm not going to share, I'm just going to shoot. Okay. Let's break our way through here, and then I'll set these to be reinforced, just so that I remember not to drill them down. And then I can be worried there's another slug coming from somewhere. Yes, there is. I should... Well, I was going to say I should put the volume of the voices a bit higher, like the little audio messages, but then at the same time I don't want to annoy you with those, particularly if it's just a landslide has occurred. A landslide has occurred, occurring day in and day out. I know some people just turn those on. I mean, I know I can tailor them so that only certain ones come on and certain ones don't. I know I can do that as well, but, you know, at the same time, I don't want to do that, because I'm a bit of a purist when despite the fact I'm playing a game which is completely unlike the original, I'm a bit of a purist, and I prefer games that I love to be as true to the original as possible, which is why I've never really got along with modding games like Skyrim or Fallout, because I feel like when you start putting mods into them, it's not really the same game anymore, which I know is the whole point of it, because it's a literal modification, right? I do get that, you know, I'm not going to say I'm not stupid. No, I am stupid, but, you know, in this particular regard, I am not. At least, not inordinately, whatever under the sun that word means. Yeah, I feel like the games like Fallout and Skyrim, once you start putting in mods, it stops being the original game, right? And it becomes something different, which is then separate and unique, which means that you're not really playing that game anymore. And when I go back to playing those games, it's because I want to play those games, not because I want to play something similar, but different. Otherwise, you know, I would play something similar but different. But you know, everyone's taste is different. I'm not trying to you know, sass mods or anything. You know, by all means, modify things to your heart's content if it gives you a bit more game to play with. I have forgotten a slug, haven't I? Yes, I have. If you'd get out of the way for 5 minutes, thank you tremendously. Kindly move your ass. Thank you. Thank you. Don't think he actually got a crystal. Have they been able to drain any crystals yet? Goodness. I feel a bit bad. I feel like I'm doing this too well. Admittedly, they're not coming in the droves that I thought they would, but perhaps I should have predicted that they wouldn't be coming in ridiculous numbers, because I get the distinct impression that the purpose of this level, at least the design ethos behind it, is going to be to teach you about the slugs and get you prepared for latter slug-related levels like Rock Hard and Back to Basics, as I imagine that don't erode. Just don't erode. All I want for Christmas is the lava to not erode. There we are. Auto-tune that and put that on YouTube. That would probably be more popular than anything I've done. Okay, yes, it doesn't seem like it's eroding, which is lovely. The fact that this is a rock level with some lava in it is also very evocative of Back to Basics, but no, I in retrospect, I'm not hugely surprised that the slugs aren't being tremendously aggressive, because I really thought they would be coming out in 4s and 5s by this point. Words, yes. Sorry, my brain is shutting down. It's so late in the evening. It's only 8:30 as well. Crying out loud. Yes, yeah, I imagine that the idea of this game is to act as a tutorial in order to educate you about how to fight them, despite the fact that it doesn't really explain how to fight them in terms of actually giving you a tutorial or anything, or even like mentioning anything in the briefing about like sonic blasters or lasers or mining lasers or anything like that. But again, I would doubt that anybody would come into Baz Mod never having played the original. It seems a little unlikely, if you ask me, but I still like that it's got these sort of more tutorial-ish levels, if I could even speak. What are you doing coming over here? Oh, you're sort of going around in a corner. That's bizarre. Why don't you go in a straight line? I don't know much about geography, but I understand that the crow flies is the shortest distance, mate. I understand that. In fact, you don't even need to know anything about geography. You know Pythagoras and you'd understand that. Yeah, I like that by having these sort of tutorial levels and everything else, there's almost like a slower ramping up of the difficulty as you go through the campaign. You're not immediately chucked into the deep end with some really difficult levels right at the end. You reward the player for being stupid, don't you? I had a funny feeling you'd do that, Baz. I sort of did. The slugs seem to have completely given up, which is interesting. I don't know if that's, again, something which is programmed in order to make them calm down once you complete the mission's objectives. I don't know. That seems possible. Seems plausible, even. But I've no idea whether, in fact, it's true. But a bit more testing might help with that. Anyway, this video's dragged on, hasn't it? Just like all the rest of mine do. I reckon we're about done, then. The layout of this level actually reminds me of that Labyrinth custom level we played donkeys years ago. Never mind, that's just a random bizarre thought that doesn't matter. Right then, that was relatively painless, which was lovely, but only really because I had this mining laser here. So, yes, that went alright, it didn't go too badly, and I reckon we is about done. Yes, please, I wish to go home and have a biscuit. Or possibly just some anti-hallucination medicine. You defended your base well from those green little slimy slugs and collected all 64 energy crystals. Oh, 64. I thought we needed 62. Sorry, I got confuzzled. So what have we revealed for the next one?
Lava lava.
Now that's interesting, because lava lava comes much later in the game, doesn't it? It's like, here, I think? Yeah, I think it's here, in the standard one, so that's interesting. So it's not just the... It's not just that there's some extra levels in, some original levels, there's also a big change up in the order in which they're presented, which is interesting, because I think...
Cold comfort.
Yes, I think this is actually the last original level, as it were. I think there's 8, so we've had 1, 2, 3, 4... we've had 4, we've had 5... We've had...
Breathless. Trouble.
We've had 6... We've had 7, so there's maybe 1 more somewhere. I'm not entirely sure, but if I've counted them indeed correctly, which I probably haven't. But yeah, I think there's 8. Yes, because there's 25 original levels and there's 8 tutorials, and the 8 tutorials are replaced by Baz's 8 new levels. So this one, or possibly the next one, will be the last original level that we get to play, of course. I was a bit worried that the rest of this series would be repetitions of other levels that, of course, we've already seen before to some varying degrees or another. But at least if the order is good and different, then that will help it be nice and different from the original the original campaign. So isn't that all just chipper and cheery? So yeah, that was relatively painless, actually. The seamless level was interesting. Nice to play around with the mechanic where we don't have a lot of crystals to work with, not at least until the end. And nice to also have one in which you find some vehicles, because now that I think about it, with the exception of Frozen Frenzy, where you find the tunnel transporter, not that you can really use the infernal thing, at least in the original game, of course, once you bust open that cabinet, it's over. This one, which you do find a vehicle, but again... You can use a little bit, but by that point you've blown through some hard rocks, so you're ready to use dynamite at that point anyway, so it's not really that necessary. And of course Run the Gauntlet, which also has vehicles in it, of course, which are integral to its design. There's not a lot of levels where you find and use vehicles, but having a level in which you don't have a lot of crystals, so you have to use what you're given rather than just making what you want, I think there's a nice way of utilising that mechanic a bit more. So that's just lovely as far as I'm concerned. Right then, I'm going to stop yammering on and boring you to death. So I should say thank you very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen, for a bit more of Baz Mod, not a bit mod of Baz More. I don't know what Baz More is, but presumably that's what happens after Baz becomes so famous and successful after making this that he gets enough money in order to buy his own hill in Scotland. Right then, I'll shut up and let you get on with the rest of your life. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look after each other, and good night.